2024 curriculum subcommittee meeting for the Weston Public Schools. Looks like we have a full house today, so it's a great way to get a lot of introductions and meet a lot of people. So excited.
Thank you, Dr. Kingsley. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone out in the community that's watching today. Really excited to kick off our first curriculum committee meeting of the school year for the 23-24 school year. This subcommittee has a very specific purpose around Weston's curriculum and how we are focusing on teaching and learning throughout the school year. We really use this opportunity within our subcommittee meeting to highlight some of the great work that we're doing throughout the district. And we always want to ensure that our work is communicated and celebrated throughout the school year. And so we really have many opportunities where the school-based leaders, as well as different members of our teacher leader community, come to present and celebrate all that great work throughout the year. So we do discuss all aspects of curriculum, instruction, school culture, and climate throughout the district. So our meetings are virtual. And so with that, I always start the meeting with our purpose first and then talk about our virtual norms. We do ask that you keep your cameras on at all times. It's a lot more exciting to present to faces than to black screens. We also ask that if you're not presenting, that you keep your microphones muted so that there's no background noise and distractions. We also ask that you're present and engaged throughout the conversation. We will be as focused and keep on task as much as possible within the 90-minute time that we have. We're always looking to seek to understand, so please probe and ask questions throughout our presentations and our discussion, while still keeping on topic based on the agenda items, so that we can make sure that we use our time wisely. Anything else, Bernie, before we begin?
No, I think that's a great overview and introduction. And every day, every week, every month, we come in with a set agenda, but we talk, discuss, prepare, and come up with items that are seasonal, but also that occur in the community on an ongoing basis, and refine our agenda that way.
Absolutely. We do also have an agenda that we follow every time that we meet. It is a planned and prepared agenda beforehand with topics. There is an opportunity that you'll see at the end that we always talk about what are some of the next agenda items for the next monthly meeting. And then if there are additional topics, Bernie, we can filter that information through Bernie if they're out in the community. And then I work on the internal side to kind of focus some of that work and identify those agenda items for the following month. So thank you for that, Bernie. We also use this committee to provide an overview and an approval process for any overnight field trips that are required based on district policy. We do not have any overnight field trips right now on our agenda, but I will tell you that there is one brewing in the field. So probably by October, we might have a review of an overnight field trip that is being requested at the high school level for the April break. Okay. So we have three broad, very broad topics today. I'm trying to highlight them for you because I will switch away from the agenda and I will open up a presentation. We want to have some time to talk about some of the great summer curriculum work that we've done since June. Also talking about some of the work that we've done with administrators in August, as well as you can see we've got our district curriculum and instruction leadership team that's on the call today that I wanted to basically introduce the district team to all of you, make sure that you have a face to a name, because as I mentioned in the beginning, as we progress throughout the school year and celebrate all the great work that's happening in the schools, you will see these members come out and present and provide some feedback and background around their work. And so I wanted to make sure before we move into the school year, you are able to put a face to a name and understand who our curriculum instruction leaders are that are basically leading the work through in the field. So that's one piece. We also want to talk about our professional development goals for this upcoming school year, and give you some additional kind of feedback regarding some of the work that we've already started around K-2 literacy adoption, as well as how we as a district are supporting our new, I don't want to say new teachers, because a lot of our teachers are not new to the profession, but maybe new to Weston. So we want to talk a little bit about that work and how my office and the members of the leadership team are supporting our teachers in collaboration with the Human Resources Department. And then I'll close with an ongoing conversation that we've been having from last school year around a continued partnership and collaboration with the town and the student, the youth, help me, Bernie, the youth services program right through Park and Rec. I've been working really hard to enhance that partnership and elevate our collaboration between the town and the schools. And so I want to give you an update on an ongoing experience that we're going to be offering through the Youth Services Department and the middle school for middle school students in the and after school program. Okay.
Great. Sounds good.
All right. All right. So I'm going to switch now and shift over to the presentation for a moment. If you can hang on with me.
Okay, so while you're getting that set up, maybe we'll take a look at the approval of the old minutes, so closing out last year. So before we go any further, Chad or David, did you have any comments or feedback on the May or June 2023 meeting minutes?
No.
Nope.
Looks good. Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the May 2023 and the June 2023 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion unanimously carries. So thank you.
All right, great. Okay, so as the agenda stated, we got some pretty lofty topics that we want to provide an opportunity to review over the summer. So we wanted to talk about what we've done relative to Weston's curriculum and the curriculum framework. We want to talk about what we're going to be focusing on during the professional development days and opportunities that we've allocated throughout the school year. We want to provide you with an update around our K-2 literacy adoption and the new K-2 assessment, literacy assessment that we're going to be implementing starting for the first time in the fall. We also want to provide you with an update on how we're supporting staff that are new to Weston in collaboration with Human Resources Department and what program we've designed to support them. And then finally, as I mentioned, I wanted to just give a little bit of airtime to the partnership between Weston Youth Services and Weston Park and Rec as we designed some summer programs for students specifically in the middle school this past summer. What happened with that program and how we're supporting that program throughout the school year. So we hosted a summer curriculum academy this summer. You may, if you tuned in to our June presentation, we talked about some of those next steps relative to our district and school improvement plans. We did run a 5-day consecutive summer curriculum academy. We grounded our work in universal design for learning and understanding by design, which is those both frameworks are research-based frameworks to guide teachers and teams of teachers to design curriculum as well as supporting unit planning and lesson planning. And we want to continue that work throughout the school year and beyond. Curriculum, as many of you know, is an ongoing evolution. It's not something that can all be done in 5 days. If you've ever written curriculum before, it does take a lot of energy and focus and attention to detail. And I'm very fortunate in Weston that our teachers are really committed to this work, and they did a great job over that summer curriculum academy. It was the first one I've ran, and we do have a lot of work moving forward, but we have a lot to celebrate too. We had approximately 45 teachers working throughout those 5 days in the summer at different times, but overall about 45 teachers across 7 different content areas that were organized in approximately 13 different teams throughout the K-12 environment. And the overall goal of that work, depending on which content area you were working on, was to ensure that there was coherence and alignment across the district in all content areas through a framework that we designed where it was, I'll talk a little bit further about it as we move on, but we wanted to ensure that there was a streamlined communication around a scope and sequence. So if a student was entering kindergarten, could we articulate and communicate all the different units that they will experience in a specific content area from kindergarten all the way to high school? Then within that scope and sequence, if you drill down and go by grade level, then does a teacher know explicitly what units are organized in sequence for the school year? And then from there, if you think about a funnel approach, what is the unit? If there's 4 units across the year, what does unit 1 look like? What does unit 2 look like? What does unit 3 look like? And that's basically the framework that we all leveraged this summer through the Curriculum Academy. Our curriculum instruction leaders, wrong screen, excuse me, led this work alongside me. We had a first day where we kicked off our district-wide Curriculum Academy. We really made sure that we understood the curriculum framework that we were going to be using when we're designing curriculum. And then all of our curriculum and instruction leaders who are on the call with me today, so I really appreciate them taking a little bit of time just to come out and be recognized for all the great work that they did this summer. They then broke off into those different teams and they helped to support and design the curriculum development process for the remaining portion of the summer. Most teams worked about 5 consecutive days, 5 consecutive full days. We even had some teams that really wanted to continue some of the work that they started and they needed a couple extra days. So then after those 5 days, we really listened to our teachers. We really tried to accommodate some of the extra time that some of them needed to finish some of the tasks that they had on their plate as a team. So I want to just take a quick moment. I didn't ask the entire team to stay on for the whole time, but I want to make sure that I put a face to a name for all of our curriculum instruction leaders and first say thank you to them for all the great work that they did over the summer. They've also led a lot of the professional development in August prior to the opening of school to help me communicate the new Weston framework and what the curriculum looks like so that we can then make sure that we're all on the same playing field with our teachers. So they provided a full day of professional development to our teachers in August as well. So Andrea Noble, she's our curriculum instruction leader who is overseeing K2 English Language Arts and Social Studies. She's on the call. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and say hello so that your face can pop up on the screen, Andrea.
Hello.
Great. So she's going to stay on with me because she is going to provide an update for us. She was the first one to be able to stay on and actually celebrate some of the great work that we've done around our literacy adoption. So she's going to hang on for me. Alex Bluestein is our 3-5 leader at WIS, focusing on English Language Arts and Social Studies.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you.
Thanks for coming. Dr. Jess DeBono, she's at the secondary level. She supports our English Language Arts teachers in grades 6 through 12, servicing 2 buildings.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you.
Thank you for coming. And then we have Nick Torres. He is also supporting secondary teachers, focusing in social studies in both buildings as well. Nick?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
So I wanted to thank the humanities department if you were with us in June last year. When we present, many times I do ask that the whole K-12 department come and present together as a team. So they represent our humanities content areas. And so I appreciate them jumping on the call so that they can be introduced officially as the 23-24 humanities team. So you can stay on if you'd like, but thank you for coming. All right, in the STEM area, we have Kelly Del Vecchio. She's supporting math and science in K2 at Hess.
Hi, everybody.
There she is. Pop on the screen there. Erin Barlow, she is new to Weston, but not new to this role. She is the SIL at WIS in 3-5 math and science.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Erin. We have Riley Rappaport. She is our secondary SIL for mathematics, servicing 2 schools.
Hi, everybody.
Again, she is new to Weston, but not new to this profession. Both of our new curriculum instruction leaders are very experienced coaches, and so we're really excited to have them and what they bring to the team. And finally, Beth Lancaster. She is supporting our secondary science and technology teachers in both schools.
Hi, very nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Beth. And again, Beth is new to Weston, but not new to this work and not new to being a coach. So we're really excited to have her as well. And then finally, we have our specialists. We have a group of curriculum instruction leaders who are servicing 4 schools. They jump from one building to the next throughout the school week, and they have the entire department K through 12. So we have Mercedes Fernandez that is going to support world language with us this year again. Thank you. Is Mercedes here?
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Mercedes. We have Kate O'Keefe supporting visual arts K through 12.
Hi, everyone.
And we have Liz Morris supporting music K through 12.
Hi.
There you are, Liz. And finally, we have Mary Faith Blank. She is supporting physical education and health K through 12.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you.
Thanks for coming, Mary Faith. Mary Faith is new to this role this year, and we're really excited to have her on the team, but she's not new to this work either. And so it's really exciting to have an experienced team come together and celebrate and really leverage our work and our goals this school year. You're going to see some of those goals transcend in our district and school improvement plans this year. And so I really appreciate all of them coming on. I wanted to make sure that we provided an official introduction to each of them. So as we continue our work this year, when they come to present, you'll know who they are and why they're on the call. So thank you all for coming. You don't necessarily have to stay, but you are welcome to continue on with some of the work that we're going to be highlighting that we did in the summer. So as I mentioned, over the summer, we talked about how do we ensure that there is a guaranteed and shared curriculum throughout the district. We talked a little bit about the importance of articulation and coherence and connecting the dots. And so the focus of the Summer Curriculum Academy is to ensure that our curriculum framework is really comprehensive, it's equitable, all students can access a high level of education and learning experience in the classroom. We want to ensure that our curriculum is aligned to standards at every grade level and across all subject areas. And we have a high standard in Weston, right? So by creating a guaranteed and viable curriculum in a specific framework, that helps us to ensure that all students have that access, no matter what grade and no matter what content area that they're in. It also helps us ensure that as a school system and as leaders, we are able to use that curriculum to leverage and engage our teachers to ensure that there's integrity around implementation of that curriculum as well. So we really used the research around the importance of a guaranteed and viable curriculum throughout the framework. And we chose a framework that was really going to help us ensure that everybody was on the same page and everybody knew what was expected of them in the classroom. So the 2 frameworks that we chose, because there's a lot of different curriculum frameworks out there, lots of different research, certain districts choose different ones. For Weston, we chose to connect the Understanding by Design framework that Grant Wiggins and Jay McTighe developed years ago. It's a backwards design planning where you look at what you're expecting students to do by the end of a unit of study and then work backwards from there to design the unit of study, coupled with an understanding of universal design for learning. Universal design for learning is based on neuroscience. It frames it's focused on 3 major pillars, right? The why of learning, that engages the kids, it hooks them in, like, why is this important? Why am I learning this, right? The what of learning, so it talks about different ways to connect the content to real world learning. So what is it that I'm going to learn today, and connecting it to the why, and then the how, right? How are we designing the learning so kids have choice? They have buy-in, they have opportunities to engage in the learning in a variety of different ways. So we really felt that putting these two pieces together in our Weston framework was going to give us that guaranteed and viable curriculum that we were looking to achieve. I know that's a lot of educational jargon, but I'm really passionate about these two frameworks, and I really feel that it's going to give us the rigorous and the high quality curriculum that our teachers, do all the time, but in a framework that's named and it's actually written on paper in a coherent way. So then from there, as I mentioned earlier, we really wanted to make sure that within that framework, people understood how to design the curriculum. So what's the first step? The first step is to ensure that coherence and alignment. So from kindergarten all the way to high school, what are those units of study that a student progresses through in every content area? So a teacher could look at that snapshot at any grade level and say, well, what did they learn before and where are they going, right? Because it's important that we're transparent about understanding where our students came from and where they're expected to go. Then drilling into a pacing guide is by grade level and within a year. Okay, so I'm a 5th grade teacher. What's the first unit I'm supposed to do within this year? I have a big picture idea, but now I need to narrow it down into a year-long sequence. And then from there, if I know I have 5 units to teach, and this is the time frame I have to teach them, what do I do in the first unit, right? So that first unit is where the rubber meets the road. It's the meat and potatoes for the curriculum, for the teacher to actually design their lessons around and really unpack where the student has to master and what standards they have to master by the end of the unit. And then how am I going to design the learning as I work backwards from there? I did throw lesson plans in that curriculum funnel because obviously as teaching professionals, we are expected to design lessons connected to the unit plans. In a curriculum though, there's different philosophies on that. My philosophy is not to design lesson plans for teachers. I expect teachers to know their students. Every classroom is filled with a different variety of data points, and a teacher's expectation and responsibility is to design and put their own flair on their lesson plans that is connected to the unit plans based on who they have in front of them. So within our curriculum, we kind of stop at that funnel after unit plans, and then our curriculum instruction leaders come into play, and they help support teachers with designing lesson plans and helping think of creative ways that are engaging for students throughout the unit. And I have I can see 3 of my curriculum instruction leaders hanging on here. So if you ladies want to jump in at any point, you're welcome to jump in since you're definitely hanging on here as well, which is great. So once we completed that process, I will tell you that when I came on board, I'm going to be fully transparent. We had a tool in the district that housed our curriculum. The platform was a little, it wasn't very user friendly and we weren't able to access curriculum as easily and quickly as we wanted. As a result, our curriculum and instruction leaders helped me move all of the content out of that platform, and we now are housing all of our curriculum in a Google environment. I created a website, an intranet, internally, so it's accessible by our Weston staff. And now all of our curriculum is housed in a Weston-specific teaching and learning website. It's in a Google environment, so it's very easy for teachers to make copies of things and put it in their own Google Drives and share it out with students and manipulate it however they want. It also is much easier for for administrators to access that information a little easier on the devices that we use. So it also, and you all might like this, it also saved us about $10,000 moving into the Google environment versus maintaining the platform that we had. So we saved a little money in that way. So as we think about supporting our teachers through curriculum and implementation, I wanted to then transition to professional development and our focus for this school year. So as you can see, curriculum is a ongoing, evolving process. We have a lot more work to do to design curriculum to the level that we want to be. We have some curriculum that is in the old format, and we're working to transition to our new framework. We have curriculum across all content areas across the district, but it may not be in the same format right now. So we're still in transition, and we're going to be leveraging some work throughout the school year with our teachers, but also we're going to run another summer curriculum academy to continue that work in the upcoming summer as well. But we are focusing our professional development around 3 big areas this school year. We really want to leverage opportunities to build connection and focus on a sense of belonging throughout the school district. So you'll see when we start presenting on our district and school improvement plans, we want to leverage these 3 key areas that really think about learning and learning design differently than maybe we have in the past. And we really want to zoom in on ways that we're creating learning environments where kids are focusing on taking risks and really focusing on having a growth mindset and interacting with each other, and increasing the discourse in the classroom and creating activities where kids are working in small groups again this school year. We also want to look at ways to build positive relationships again amongst students, between staff and families, and focus on those universal design for learning, which is around engagement, representation, action, and expression. And then, of course, we always want to look at evidence and look at our data and see how we're doing in those areas when it comes to curriculum implementation. So one of our indicators of success is going to be to focus on assessment and instructional practices that meet the needs of all learners. So some of that, if you weren't able to follow along with us last year, we still are going to be focusing on ways to create learning for all students that are holding kids in a high regard for all learners in all content areas, right? Maintaining a level of cognitive demand in that is developmentally appropriate based on their grade level, but also maintaining a high level standard for all students in all areas. I just highlighted some professional development things that we did over the summer, as well with administrators, with our curriculum and instruction leaders. And we are really trying to make a stronger connection between our instructional leaders, our administrators, and our coaches, our curriculum and instruction leaders. So we're partnering with Cognitive Coaching Institute that is going to help really focus on practices to help leverage some of those coaching routines and coaching strategies. And we're including our administrators in that conversation as well. Last year, maybe we worked a little bit more in isolation. And this year, we really want to work in partnership with each other and provide professional development that not only curriculum instruction leaders will be engaged in, but also offering it to our administrators if they have time to attend as well. So that's a quick synopsis of what we've done over the summer around curriculum instruction and some of our goals around professional development and some of the things that we've worked on in August, specifically for our curriculum instruction leaders and our administrators. And I just want to open it up for some questions or thoughts before we transition into our update for K-2 literacy.
Tina, I have a question. If we can navigate you back to the Weston's curriculum design frameworks, the UDL and UBD slide.
Sure. That one?
Yeah, exactly. Can you just walk me through, so those big gray circles, like identify desired results, big ideas and skills, determine acceptable evidence, and then plan learning experiences. Can you just, like, what's an example of that? You don't have to go into great detail, but like, what is a desired result, for example?
So usually how we design our units of study is the unit of study has a culminating performance task at the end of the unit where no new learning is happening, but where students are expected to synthesize all of the learning and standards that they actually experience throughout the unit in a culminating experience. That might be a an opportunity for them to choose the way that they're presenting their project. It could be in the form of a newsletter, it could be a podcast, it could be a video, it could be a voiceover. So they get to choose some of those experiences, but they may take a specific role. They may transform into a specific role if they're a leader in in some kind of like a project, or a leader within a certain social studies realm, right, in a region, and they may take a role within that project as well. So how would they present it if they immerse themselves as a historian or as a scientist, right? And so that would be the end result. That would be the goal by the end of this unit. This is a culminating thematic project with choice embedded within it. So that would be the identified desired results, right? That's step one. Where do we want the students to go and experience by the end of this unit? Then from there, and that's hard. It's a very hard conversation. That's why it takes us some time when we're designing these units of study. We spend a lot of time debating and deliberating on what are those desired results, and how do we make it engaging for kids? Yeah. Especially if they're third graders or eighth graders or kindergartners, right? They have to be developmentally appropriate. And then from there, we backwards plan. So we talk about how do we break apart that project into smaller pieces of learning, so that by the time they get to the end, they're confident and they have the skills that they need in order to present that project and put all the pieces together. I don't know, Alex or Aaron or Andrea, if there was something I'm missing. Yeah, pretty good, right? Yeah, okay. I think, and the hardest part of it is truly, there's a lot of standards that we as teachers have to teach to mastery, where kids have to master these standards by the end of the unit. There's a lot of them. And if you actually map out every single standard based on the time that we have in the school year, you would need like 2 more school years in one to really master every standard at the same level. So I think another part of this work that we really spend a lot of time on is identifying which standards are the priority, right? And so within each one of these units, the teacher teams spend a lot of time deciding really what are the high leverage standards that we feel are almost like prerequisite standards, so that as the students progress through the school year, they really need to have a strong foundation and mastery around these standards as they progress through the school year and as they transition to the next grade level. So we take this work very seriously. I know you know that, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of conversation. And sometimes when I talk about curriculum evolving, when I say that evolution of curriculum, it's because sometimes we make decisions without putting the curriculum in front of the kids first. And then we have to make revisions, because once we put it in front of the kids, sometimes it doesn't go the way we thought it was going to go. And we have to go back and make revisions. So a lot of times our projects, like, we're making decisions because we think they're fun and engaging, and then we put them in front of kids and they're like, you know, they would have liked to do this, or that didn't work very well, and we need to go back and revise. So that's also why I keep coming back and saying this curriculum is never done. I feel like curriculum's never done. It's always changing. It's always evolving. We're always learning and learning new things. And so good curriculum always comes back for revision and makes adjustments for the following school year. I hope that answers your question. Mm-hmm.
I have two quick questions. Well, 2 questions.
Sure.
My first one is around, first of all, I want to say hats off to the teaching and learning team, because this is a tremendous amount of work and requires so much coordination amongst each other and all the teachers to get a K-12 alignment like that. So that's fantastic and a testament to how well everyone's working together. I can see all of the work in the alignment of the goals and the standards and the plans and the lessons and the skills. Is there been any talk about alignments of outcomes in terms of standardized rubrics across the grades that evolve developmentally and things like that, so that we can see what, let's say, a verbal presentation looks like in a third grade class and how that would evolve to what a presentation verbally would look like in an 8th grade or a 12th grade class?
You're speaking like a teacher. You're absolutely right, Dr. Kingsley. Part of the process of unit design and planning is when we're creating common performance tasks at the end of a unit, as well as common curriculum-based assessments throughout the unit. They're common because there's an expectation that if they're written in the unit, everyone needs to be exposed to them, and they're expected to use them. And so that data collection is also consistent. When we're designing curriculum, that is the coherent and guaranteed and viable part of the curriculum that accompanies this framework and process. So when it's written in the unit and it's accessible to teachers, the expectation is at minimum, they're exposing and implementing those projects, and part of those projects have rubrics and or look-fors, as well as the assessments in the lessons or in within their formative or summative assessments. They're evolving. We do have rubrics in place that we use consistently throughout different content areas. We also have different content areas where their focus this coming school year is to develop some of them. Right? We may have units that are developed, but we need to create a K-5 rubric around creativity. What does that look like in the visual arts or the music pathway? And so that's a conversation that our curriculum instruction leaders are going to be leading some of that work this year as well. Great question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My second question is, with all of this great work, is there any thought to what part of it will be public facing? Because I'm thinking of parents and prospective parents to the district. This is a really nice complement to what we show about our standardized test scores. This is the other piece of all of that work that goes behind it. And it really does highlight the rigor of what our students are doing in what grades. So I don't know that all of it would be what you'd want to put out because it's a lot of information, but are there pieces perhaps?
Yeah, I love that idea. What we didn't do last year that I think we would like to do this year, and I know because David, Chad, and Bernie, you were all involved in this. All of our curriculum, right, the K-12 alignment is to ensure that our students, by the time they get to 12th grade, are able to create a portrait of a graduate that celebrates different characteristics or qualities that define what we believe in Weston is the evolution of a portrait of a graduate, right? Over time, we're all in this together, right? So all the pieces of kindergarten, they build and they develop up to the point where they have that experience when they get to senior year. And so I'm hoping that we talked about maybe highlighting and celebrating some of those presentations that I know we all got teary-eyed in the ones that I did with the students at the high school last year. We would like to be able to celebrate some of those culminating portrait of a graduate experiences with our seniors, and publicly, hopefully some of them would want to come, and Megan's on the call. But we would love to be able to celebrate and highlight some of those students and give them the floor to talk about their portrait of a graduate and what it meant to them over the course of their 13 years in Weston. That was a conversation last year. It has not been formalized at all. But that is a wonderful opportunity to move away from the data that's very focused on numbers and more about students and those 21st century learning skills and those college and career and connectedness that we really are working towards over the 13 years before they graduate and go off into the world. I hope we can do that this year. Yeah, for sure. Megan, did you want to add anything? I don't know if I.
No, I think our hope when we had that car, I think we all saw it was the first year that we had really done those panels to that level.
Mm.
And it was really nice that community members, Board of Ed members, our team and teachers were all part of those conversations. I think we talked about that idea as seniors were wrapping up. So to capture them for those presentations. So now that we have that insight as we head into the end of the year, I think that will be part of our plan, whether they're at a Board of Ed meeting or at this meeting or, some sort of public share to kind of capture some of the really great work that a lot of our students did. They were really amazing to listen to.
Yes, they were. So I wanted then transition to, if I may, to one of our larger discussions last year and the updates that we provided in this meeting and as a district was our shift to a new core curriculum resource for literacy. Although the state required K-3 adoption, I basically communicated to the state that Weston will be adopting a K-2 program first, followed by a 3-5 program next. And Andrea and Laura are here. Andrea is going to take the lead on providing you with an update on what has been done to prepare for the implementation this fall. They've done a lot of wonderful work in preparation for the implementation in August and September. And so I wanted to give them some time to give you an update and let you know where we are with that K-2 adoption this school year. So Andrea, did you want to jump in?
That would be great. Thanks so much. So we've had a very busy but really strong kickoff to the school year. Since we had our initial professional development session with our ARC staff developer, we've been using team time as well as common planning time for our grade level teams to be able to come together in order to use those unit plans that Tina had talked about prior, in order for them to collaborate and plan their lessons together to make sure that what we're teaching is in sync across classrooms. Teachers who worked on creating and working on the summer curriculum documents this past summer are working really hard on supporting their teammates with the rollout because they had worked so hard on the creation of those documents. It's allowing them to demonstrate some leadership within their grade level teams. Our plan for families, our families are going to be getting a kickoff to the American Reading Company, as well as the units of study that our students will be participating in at back to school nights. So that's our first kind of kickoff with that. And then with each curricular unit, there is a family support letter that will be going home with students that kind of give an overview of what that unit is going to be about. And then once we begin sending home books, there will also be a resource card that accompany the books so that our families know how they can support their children at home. Our teachers are enjoying their read aloud books that they're doing with their classrooms. They're providing a real nice, rich, diverse set of books where the students are able to see themselves in the characters within the books, as well as learning about people who may not look or live similar lives. You know, kids may be from the city and we may not know a lot about city life. We are more rural. And so we're kind of expanding our children's worlds through those read alouds. We have had a really nice strategic rollout of materials and supplies with the American Reading Company. Rather than inundating us with a year's worth of materials and supplies, they kind of do a rollout where we get some materials and supplies over the summer, which kicked us off for the fall, for September. We just got our next shipment in for what we're going to be doing within Unit 2. And that staggered strategic rollout really allows our teachers to kind of get their feet underneath them with the unit that is upcoming and what we're going to be doing, and then be able to kind of build from there to that next unit. So that's worked very well. This year, we're going to be transitioning. We've done Dibbles at Hurlbut. In the past, we've done the paper and pencil version of them. This year, either 4 or 5 different subtests of Dibbles are going to be implemented and recorded on MClass will allow us to kind of analyze the data a little differently than us doing that in-house. So that is upcoming and what we're going to be doing with Dibbles.
Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, just to elaborate, Andrea has really, in collaboration with Laura and Matthew as well, she's really taken the lead on all aspects of this implementation. And she's done a fantastic job with coordinating and working with teachers and helping unpack the units. She also, and Alex too, Alex Bluestein, who is the WIS curriculum instruction leader, they were the team this summer to work on the curriculum design. And them, as well as the teachers on this team, were stellar when it came to understanding the curriculum framework, picking apart all the different components of the new curriculum and mapping it into the full year program for teachers. And they worked overtime to really ensure that the entire year was ready for every grade level. They designed different resources to help ensure that everyone understood all the different pieces and how they work together. It was like such a well-oiled machine with this team when they were working in the room for almost, if you add the numbers together, it was almost 2 weeks of intensive work. And every time I walked in there and asked questions, they were rolling up their sleeves and immersed in the work and really invested in every aspect of the curriculum design. So I just wanted to share that with all of you and publicly say thank you, because if it weren't for them, the teachers would not have been as prepared to implement this curriculum in September. In fact, we had a trainer come and give us some feedback on our curriculum from the American Reading Company just to give us some feedback and let us know if we're on the right track. Did we miss anything? Because it's a new resource. And when they came on the call and reviewed the different documents that they had, the feedback we got from them was that they have not seen a district this prepared, and they have not seen a district that has already written the curriculum in this way, to this depth, in a very long time, if not ever. And I'm sure they're going to ask us to present somewhere at some point around what Weston is doing and what the process has been to design curriculum and implement American Reading Company for the first time. So every aspect that Andrea is talking about, not only from curriculum design, but from gathering the resources and scaffolding the resources and involving the trainer in professional development, everything that we've done so far under Andrea and Laura's leadership has been customized for Weston. And we're really fortunate to be able to have them lead this work as well. And Alex also has been kind of jumping on the bandwagon, which has really been helpful because her implementation will be next school year for grades 3 through 5. And she's been very open to jumping into the work and making sure she's ready and preparing some of that for next school year as well. So thank you all. Any questions for them?
Sounds fantastic and thorough. Thank you.
They're amazing. They're amazing. So the next topic on the agenda that I wanted to just let everyone be aware, we started a new support group. I shouldn't say support group. That's really not the best way to present it. But we have about 16 teachers that are new to Weston, only 2 of whom are brand new to the profession, right? So when you're brand new to the profession, you're part of the state team program where you have to provide modules of reflection, and very similar to what we used to do years ago in a program called BEST, where you had to videotape yourself and you had to write a few different reflection pieces. It has now evolved into a different program called TEAM. But thanks, Alex. Great to see you. Thanks for coming. We decided in collaboration with Paul Rasmussen, he is the Director of Human Resources, we wanted to design a networking group for anybody that's new to Weston, and think of different ways throughout the month, throughout the year, within a 1 month time, 1 meeting per month to reconvene this group together to answer questions, make sure they felt supported and comfortable as they transition to Weston. Because even though you may not be new to the profession, whenever you transition to a new district, every district functions differently. We have different systems and structures. We have different evaluation programs. We have different technology tools. We have different expectations. And so Paul and I really wanted to make sure that we rallied around these 16 members and we provided them with support. And so we've outlined monthly meetings with themes. We just had our first meeting yesterday, focused on teacher evaluation and goal setting. And it is a voluntary meeting. They're not required to come, but we are trying to support them as best we can. And also it provides them with an opportunity to network with each other, share some phone numbers of people that may be throughout the district that kind of are in the same boat as them. So if there are questions, they have people that they can go to in a timely fashion. So this is something I'm not sure, Andrea or Laura, you're here longer than Megan or I, but I'm not sure if this existed at some point. I think it did exist at some point. So in a way, we're kind of rekindling this idea.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So we're going to solicit some ideas from principals and our curriculum instruction leaders if there's other themes. We also mentioned it to the teachers. If there's another theme or a topic that they would like to see within those meetings, they can also send it to Paul or myself throughout the year. Questions on that?
Not a question, just one idea / suggestion / question. I know Lisa's talked a lot about the need to beef up our substitute teacher pipeline. And I'm just wondering if teachers know teachers, if like that's a decent thing to kind of float within this networking group in case people, know others are connected to a community.
Yeah, it's a great point. That's another reason why I'm doing it in collaboration with human resources. So every time that we are in the training or the conversation, Paul is right there front and center. And so he's able to leverage this group to also network beyond Weston to see if they have any friends of friends based on the openings that we have. So at the beginning of this meeting, he does talk about some of the openings and the needs throughout the district. So thanks, Chad. That's a good point. I forgot to mention that.
Tina. So I think previously we talked about people who might want some extra help from other teachers. Sometimes they know where to get the help. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't ask for the help. So is there going to be outreach if if they don't join the teachers networking group? Will someone reach out to them and say, hey, are you aware you should really join? It's beneficial.
I can start speak to that a little bit from the building level. So we have grade level teams that meet twice a week as a group during common planning time and team meetings. So we wrap our arms around them anyway. They're immediately drawn in addition to our team leaders who lead those meetings, reach out to teachers on a daily basis to make sure they're supported, in addition to our coaches, building administration. So it comes from a variety of ways. So we don't wait for them to ask, we go to them.
Yeah, a great question too, David. Sorry,
Tina. I would say the same at the high school. All our structure is a little different. We have curricular partner meetings. Each department has the same period free for planning. So when we have new teachers in each of our departments, they're really supported with curriculum and conversations around student expectations and all of that. So I think, which is different. I mean, that's a really positive thing for Weston, that you have whole departments that have the same planning period available. That is really unique and one of the bonuses in working here, I think.
Yeah. And we constantly, every time we are with this group, because they came in before the school year opened for 2 days of new teacher orientation, we constantly bring back the group that are the curriculum instruction leaders. So that slide, I feel like it's getting a little outdated. I should put a picture on it or something because people are getting bored seeing it. But we always want to come back to making sure that there is a person to go to, especially at their level and within a specific content area, to leverage their leadership and their support. They will be coming to these meetings as well to support that group also. The only extra layer I would add too is if a teacher is in team, they're connected with a mentor. Part of being in the team program is that we identify trained mentors within Weston, and they are connected with a mentee until they complete that team program. So they're there helping them plan, they're there answering questions, they're making sure that they're acclimated to their schools, and they have a really strong partnership as well that is individualized based on somebody who's in the team program as well. It's a very small group of teachers, though, that are in team in Weston, because we hire most of the time we hire really experienced teachers. Like, as you could see, of the 16 that are new to Weston, only 2 of them are actually new to the profession in the team program. So, all right, great. Any other questions on that before we?
No, just, I don't want to speak for all the board members, but if there's ever a day where you'd like us, or some of us, one of us, to stop by and say hello and introduce ourselves, they feel welcome and know that we're here to support them as well. Just let us know, and I'm sure we could coordinate.
That's a great idea. I will let you know at the next team meeting, where we usually have them at WIS in 118. You're welcome to come. I'll send you an invite and introduce yourselves and say hello. And that's absolutely. Okay. All right. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Megan. The last topic on the agenda is just our continued, our continued partnership with the Weston Youth Services and Weston Park and Rec. When I joined the team last year, as many of you know, I came from one of the largest urban districts in the state, and we had tons and tons of programs that we offered in the summer. And I was asking, what do we do in the summer? And so I met with the 2, Charlene, and I met with Jim, who actually help, they coordinate all the different summer activities, the WOW program, the after school activities in Weston. And so we are really working to collaborate more and celebrate all the great activities that Weston offers in the town. And so this summer we offered we collaborated with them on offering a junior flight school for middle school students, as well as offering a gaming and coding program to middle school students. We were a little late in coordinating it, so the communication was also a little bit late. And so although we had a lot of interest from students, it wasn't enough to run the 2 programs this summer. So I will not give up. And so I'm still working with the youth services department. And because we had such an interest, but we're 1 or 2 students shy of running the program, we are going to run the junior flight school as an after school option for middle schoolers this fall. So I just wanted to highlight that and put it in a public session. It's through Weston Youth Services. There's a link here. You can find it in the agenda. You can go to the website on Weston Youth Services. We're also going to create a tab on our Weston Public Schools website. So it'll be a link so that it directs them over to Newtown for Weston Youth Services and Weston after school programming as well, and Park and Rec. So we really want to see us as partnerships in this work, and they ask me to evaluate programs sometimes and what we're offering and what's a high quality after school program, specifically in an academic realm. And because my background has been in STEM, I've just seen a lot of these different programs over the years, and I've experienced some of them, some not so good. And so it's a lot easier for them to ask me and sift through some of my experiences. So we're bringing only the best to our students in Weston. So I'm really excited for this opportunity, and just wanted to take this time to publicly let everybody know that we are running a junior flight school for middle school students this fall. All right. So that kind of concludes my presentation with, I don't know why we don't always do presentations, I know, in the subcommittee, but I really wanted to have some visuals based on what we've been doing over the summer, because there's been a lot of great work and a lot of planning that's gone into the school year, and really excited for the work ahead.
That was great. Thank you.
I'll put back up the agenda.
up to next meeting topics.
Yes. So in October, we will be hopefully ready for some conversation around any changes to our program of study at Weston High School. I'm happy that Megan will be coordinating some of that work internally at her high school. And we will decide, who will be coming on to make some of those presentations around the changes. Obviously, Megan will lead that work in conjunction with her administrative team, as well as any of the curriculum instruction leaders that we will be asking to come on. And then one of the other new opportunities that we're really excited for. This is new on the agenda. I apologize. I did not put it on here prior to posting because this just literally happened last night at the Weston Education Foundation meeting. I wrote a grant to the Weston Education Foundation to support Weston and a small group of teachers and administrators through the Teacher Leader Fellowship Academy, which is a sponsorship through Sacred Heart University. The program and the academy is to leverage internal staff and administrators, their capacity around, give them opportunities around teacher leadership. And the theme of this year's academy is around joy and reimagining our schools in the upcoming school year. So we'll give a quick overview and also maybe include some of those members in next month's meeting.
That sounds great.
Yeah, really excited for that. It's going to be great. You're going to see a lot of these conversations and a lot of this language and these goals actually we're going to transcend into our district and school improvement plans, which we're going to be presenting in October. So I thought it was great that we kind of took a step back and let you know what was happening in the summer and give you some context and framework around where we're moving towards. But you're going to see you'll see a lot of these similar action steps and goals connect within our district and school improvement plans as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, as we near to the end of the meeting, I just had two thoughts about things that we were discussing and working on last year that might be food for thought for us to bring into the agenda and look at this year. One of them was on the transition grades and focusing a little bit on that because we saw some data that suggested there might be areas to work on from the standardized test perspective. But I'm just thinking about, the mental health, well-being, new buildings, parents, adjustment. If there's any way or any metrics we can do to talk about better capturing those experiences so we could figure out exactly what's happening. So into third grade, into sixth grade, into ninth grade, possibly kindergarten, depending on if that seems like it's a good fit. Kind of a loose idea, but see if we can provide some better support at those moments. And my second thought was we did a really good job last year of putting mental health on the agenda and talking about updates about that. I'm wondering if there's possible for us to come up with some kind of more formalized metrics to get an ongoing assessment of how mental health is doing. I know periodically there are the climate surveys and there's other big pieces we capture kind of like a breadth of what's going on, but is there any kind of way to see on an ongoing basis quick checks? And might even be a qualitative versus quantitative assessment to it, but to target if we notice there's something going on and how we can address it. I know last year we talked a lot about the support systems and the things that we have in place, but a little less about measuring it the way that we do all of these academic outcomes. I know it's difficult to measure something as ambiguous as mental health, but if there could be some work, if we could work together to come up with some kinds of ways that would help us keep a thermometer of how everything's doing.
Yeah, duly noted. Absolutely. I think you're going to see some of those action steps that are going to be part of our school and district improvement plans as well. We also want to continue some of the great work that started last year around building connections. That's why our theme evolved for professional development around building connections and increasing a sense of belonging for staff, students, and parents, right? And how do we make those stronger connections between that school to home partnership and within our staff, right, within our schools. So I know you were talking about qualitative, but we are going to be looking at our school climate surveys a lot this coming school year. We got a lot of great data, both quantitative and qualitative, because everybody was able to give some narrative, provide some narrative in those climate surveys. And there's 3 levels of surveys, right? There's staff survey, there's student survey, and there's parent surveys. And so that, along with some of the work that we hope to see transcend through the Teacher Leader Fellowship Academy, we hope that some of that work is going to transfer into the schools. And how will that look, or how will the schools be reimagined based on some of that new learning that those teams are going to be experiencing? And Mary Faith Blank, who also, Mary Faith Zangi, who actually is leading some of that work throughout the district through her role as a curriculum instruction leader in partnership with the counseling department, would be a great, we did this last year, right? Would be a great way to revisit some of that work and celebrate some of that work throughout the year. So I made a note of that as we move forward into the school year, and we'll definitely put it on as an agenda item for sure.
Sounds good. David or Chad, did you have anything, beginning of the year that you think might be good for us to keep in the front of our minds as we move through?
No, I guess my only thought would be just that I'm interested to see how, as we roll out the new reading curriculum, what lessons we learn and how that informs the coming launch of that for WIS. So I think that's probably already very much on everyone's radar. So that's the only thing.
Yeah, I don't have anything at the moment. It's early, and I like to have data points, and so we have the starts of the data points. So when we have data, I'll probably I'll have more to say on this topic and others.
That's great. Justin, hearing that, one more thing we could consider as well is, as we look at the redesign of buildings and the construction projects that are coming along the way, is there anything from a curriculum perspective that could be data we should start thinking about or collecting now or discussing that would inform those big projects coming down the road?
Yeah, David and I actually took a little tour with the committee, right? What committee was that, David? What do you call, is there a name for it?
No committee. It was
okay.
Interested political candidates.
Oh, okay. But we happened to, take a tour of the middle school and Hess Elementary School, and I think as the plan evolves a little bit more and becomes more tangible through the, oh my gosh, what's the name of that committee?
EOC.
Thank you. Then I think once we formalize that plan and what that looks like, hey, backwards design, right? Where are we headed? And then we work and scaffold backwards from there, which will include the layout of the buildings, how you would use those buildings in a curriculum way. I think, having done this before, I was talking to Dave a little bit about it. It's, if you have infrastructure in place and the foundation of the schools are there, the flexible furniture is like just cherry on top, right? But having conversations around space and around where electrical outlets are and how data is connected in the building, I think is in my opinion, most important. And that will be an ongoing conversation that's going to require more than just this committee.
Yeah, and to that end, just as we kind of talked about that's going to be probably the number one, I think, item that the EOC and we're going to have to consider is the materials, education comes first. The buildings are sort of secondary.
Mm.
So the real question is going to be, what type of physical building or layouts or what kind of tweaks can we do to existing buildings to fulfill the educational outcome, right? Because I think we would agree a building by itself, doesn't matter what it's made of, it doesn't matter how it's laid out, that's not going to directly benefit an educational outcome. It's how does the building add to or help the educational outcome. But I think the educational outcome is going to be the driving factor for any renovation.
Right. So I think for the purposes of this committee, I think that Bernie and I will work through building those agendas based on some of the requests that are out in the community and from David and Chad as well, and from the internal work that the members of this team that we presented today have done. And we'll work collaboratively to design an agenda that's really focused on all of these aspects for sure. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome. Is there anything else today before we close? Okay.
Just really looking forward to the work. Just want to say thank you all. I'm really excited that this committee is maintained from last school year as well. Chad, David, and Bernie, like it's nice that there's some continuity with what we did last year and into this year. And so I think you'll be able to see, a lot of times with initiative, it's not just a one-shot thing. They take time. And so it's nice that this committee is maintained for this school year. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, and Bernie, I know that you missed the retreat. I have no idea why they call it a retreat. We were in the portable room with no air conditioning and sweaty cheese. But besides that, you might want to get with Peter because I believe my takeaway from the retreat was Peter, Steve, and Lisa are the only members of the EOC at the moment. And I think you're spot on with what can the curriculum committee do to help the EOC as they sort of look at options, because it is the educational optimization committee. So I would say, since you missed the retreat, maybe Bernie, if you can just get with Peter and ask him how you as a chair, us as a committee, or just members of the who comes to our, the SILs and the other educators and the administrators that come, how do they get into the EOC? Because it is so critically important before we spend $1 on a brick, we understand the educational aspect of it.
Sure. And I know that as a progression happens and there's specific questions, as a committee, we'll be able to focus on them and address them. I'm thinking at this stage in the game, what can we do to best prepare for when those questions come down the pipeline? Is there parts of our academic process that we can start to organize so that we have, if there is data to be collected, we're not doing it in response to the question, but pulling from where we are. I actually think that all of the work that was done this summer for the curricular alignment is actually probably the best foundation or first piece for starting those kinds of conversations and thinking. So that work happening before a question comes is such a great way and position to be. So I think we're in a good place now, but just kind of trying to have some foresight or thinking ahead so that we can be quick sometimes when those questions come up. The turnaround time is contingent on the next step happening and the next step. So I don't want to be the hold up and more as prepared as we can be and then reactive where we need to be.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, if that's it, I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. All in favor? Almost forgot that part. All right, sounds good. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next month. Exciting year ahead. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.